Well, hello everyone and welcome to my first ever reaction to anything ever, and it's going to be a Doctor Who episode. So I have no idea how to start these things. I think usually you give like a brief recap of the last episode, which was The Well, so season 2, episode 2, I think it was, or episode 3. I really liked that episode. It was really fantastic. The midnight reveal was very surprising. I wish I recorded the reaction, which is kind of why I'm also going to record this reaction here. So yeah, I guess let's just go right into it. Okay, London, right? It's the London Eye, I think. Oh, I do know one thing. I do know Ruby's in this episode. I saw part of the preview last time, which I'm very excited for. So I guess it's like modern day, maybe? Is that how she's going to show up? Interesting. So we're still anchoring this stuff. I guess this is probably going to be a thing going on all season.
What year is this?
2025? Yeah, okay. What could it be? 2007? Okay, I don't know how Ruby's gonna be in this. Is there any chance we see an old like companion from 2007? Like, no way.
I was 8 years old when I first saw that place box, and I've followed stories of that
Wait,
ever since.
are we doing a Love and Monsters thing?
Right across the globe.
No way, right?
This week.
My name is Ruby Sunday.
I love it. My god. Maybe it'll be like a Ruby focused episode, like 73 yards or something. Mixed with like a little bit of Love and Monsters, I don't know. God, I love the intro. I never skip this, like ever. I think of all the versions, it's probably my favorite one. Lucky day. I mean, it might not be the TARDIS, right? It probably is though. But...
Only this time, things got crazier.
Is it a Weevil? There's no way, right? Okay. Is that their name from Torchwood? Because that was at the beginning of Love and Monsters too. There's no way. Okay. I like the directing this episode so far. A lot of cool things like this. Like, what do you call it? Tracking shots or something? Sutek? What is that? Mannequins? So many callbacks. Oh my goodness. This takes me back. Is it a nesting consciousness? That was a satisfying sound effect. My goodness.
You are such a liar! Mad. I mean, half an hour ago we were hanging out with the Beatles. I know. I missed that.
Interesting. So pretty recent into Ruby being the Doctor, I guess. Okay, so this is like directly.
I've been looking for you ever since, for a whole year. So the last thing I expected was to land you on my podcast this morning.
Like, this is clearly a Love and Monsters like reference,
so many questions.
which is really interesting. I love that episode.
20 years old. I'm from Manchester.
I'm just curious where it's going, you know?
London with my mom and gran.
Oh boy.
Coffee sounds great.
Oh, that's cool.
Just a glimpse. Just enough to get your heart racing.
I love the directing of this episode.
Take its time.
He said it was my lucky day. I think he was wrong. I think that's today.
Oh boy. Is he hitting on her? Is that what's happening? Oh god, he is.
Take the answer before bed because
I mean, I guess it could be a thing, right?
On one condition.
Clark with no E. And if you scroll down, he's got his shirt off.
My
Don't
god.
pretend you haven't looked.
Real. My goodness. I love Ruby's family. My goodness.
lovely. And that's what I need right now.
Look at these shots. What a... I don't know. I need to know who's directing this episode. My goodness.
No, God, no.
I'm enjoying this.
Oh god. I hope this goes well and he's not just like using her for information. Where's Mrs. Flood?
Always got time for you. Mel's on her way to Sydney.
There's something
Sydney?
strange happening in the harbour.
Oh, you on your own?
That's where I'm
Yeah.
from. My goodness.
I like working late.
Have you...
Wait, are they a thing? Is that what that's implying?
The doctor? No, not for ages.
Sorry again. I
don't think she's paranoid.
Hello?
Jesus Christ. Could there be two of them? I feel like there almost certainly has to be, right?
Kidnapped by goblins. I dangled on a rope ladder above London. And it's just like...
And he was stuck in
every
Wales.
day it's like
You don't
fight or
remember.
flight, and I'm just...
I do like this like angle of having an episode following the Doctor after the companion after leaving the Doctor. You know, seeing her cope with the paranoia, stress.
Alfie!
Alfie, another famous Doctor Who reference. Closing time.
Ruby, I didn't take the antidote.
Oh my God, he's evil.
I'm so sorry.
He wants the Doctor.
I wanted to be brave, like the Doctor.
He wants to be brave like the Doctor.
Everything he was, I can be. I'm not afraid.
You should be.
What was his logic? What was he gonna do? What's going on? Are they not the Shriek? What are they?
Wait a minute. They're not Shriek.
What could it be? Huh?
Got ya.
I want to know these people?
Nailed it.
Oh, trying to frame unit? Or something? Think tank?
What are they talking about?
Trying to expose unit or something?
What the hell is going on?
We are think tank. Exposing the lies
Exposing.
perpetuated by
True.
unit. And special effects paid for using taxpayers' money to keep us scared to hide
Oh,
their real
God.
agenda.
The threat
This
to
is
this
too
planet
real.
is real.
My goodness.
If you want evidence, I've got plenty of it, so
This
you could...
one's killing. There are people all over the world watching this.
God, I want the Doctor to show up. Oh my goodness.
Reposting.
Fascism on the streets of Britain tonight. An innocent podcaster
My
is in
goodness,
custody
I was
after
not
a
expecting it to
harmless
go this
stunt
way.
in the British village of...
Working against us.
It's interesting they're
So,
focusing on
today,
mainstream media.
I'm naming and shaming every.
What if your tech goes public?
Our technology would tear the world apart.
An interesting commentary on... we'll talk about it later, I guess, but... Like, UNIT is doing the right thing, but they have a lot of power that they don't necessarily... I don't know if they should have it, you know? I don't know. It was like a school shooter? Why is he doing this?
Do not shoot. Where is the Doctor and his box of tricks?
You're so lucky he's not here.
She's telling the truth.
Yeah, true.
Actually,
I wonder if this will shake his belief or not.
the truth.
I think he might be lost at this point.
As requested.
I think the point of the episode is going to be this isn't... It's not going to make a difference. Love the music, man. I don't think that's going to be enough. Oh boy. Which is like the sad reality of our world, I guess? I don't know.
These two are special effects.
Exactly. Oh god. Even that's not gonna, might not, I don't even know. We'll see. Ay, ay, ay. This was like the most explicit, like, social commentary Doctor Who's done in a while. Which is interesting. I really like Ruby. I don't know if it's just like the performance feels so genuine, I guess, maybe? I don't know, I really like her. It's cool seeing a companion show vulnerability, I guess, as well. Which I guess sometimes they do, but this feels more explicit. Oh boy.
You're special for all the wrong reasons.
God, I love this
See,
interaction.
I am fighting a battle.
God. This is like the strongest condemnation the Doctor's ever had of someone.
Have you met Belinda Chandra yet?
Who?
Interesting.
You want spoilers? You aren't even a footnote. Just ashes on the wind.
I
don't
love
accept
shooting.
your reality.
He's a
Doctor,
great Doctor.
I reject it.
Mrs. Flood? What's the song? Some
Oh, I'm the
Christmas
governor.
thing?
And it's your lucky day.
Interesting. All right, I don't want to. I don't want to see the preview. All right. So that was season 2, episode 4, Lucky Day, directed by Peter Hua, which is also the director of the first episode of the season, which is interesting because this one particularly like stood out to me. I guess I said it a bunch throughout the reaction, but there's like a bunch of interesting, cool shots. Even initially, right at the beginning with the fireworks and the Ferris wheel, and then as you're tracking Conrad as he's like walking down the street, or not walking down the street, but like walking to his mum or running to his mum. Like there's cool shots like that. There's the shot where Ruby is explaining what did they call it? Oh my god, I already forgot the name of the creature. Whatever it was, the monster of this episode. When Ruby's explaining that, you see like this cool, you're panning outside, you're following the monsters, it's like kind of going back and forth, whatever environment around Ruby is changing, and I think all that stuff is really cool. It's like a bunch of really cool directing shots in this episode. That's the first thing to say, I guess. But overall, I think it was pretty good, I'd say. Now, clearly to me, this is very much playing off, at least the beginning half of this is like playing off like a Love of Monsters kind of thing. There's a lot of really similarities here where you have this guy who has seen the Doctor throughout his life, saw him as a kid and now like sees him again. I guess it's kind of similar to Love of Monsters in that way. You got this guy who takes a photo of Ruby and is like trying to search for the Doctor through the companion. Like this whole like superficial element is kind of like, okay, we're doing a Love and Monsters, we're doing a story without the Doctor, we're following a companion, or I guess in Love and Monsters case, like the mother of a companion or someone related to the companion, and we're following him as kind of the protagonist. But I guess toward the end of the episode, or even like halfway through, you kind of figure out that it's not going to be like that type of episode where you get a plot twist. But yeah, that's interesting. So Love and Monsters to me is like one of the best episodes of Doctor Who, if you can believe it. This was, I think, perfectly serviceable. It's engaging. Trying to think, like there's two things that kind of appeal to me about this. Number one is Ruby as a character, well, not even necessarily Ruby as a character, a little bit of Ruby as a character, but mainly Ruby as a performance. I really like, I wish I have time, let me look her up. What's the actress's name? Ruby Sunday actress. Millie Gibson. I think she gives a fantastic performance. I said it in the reaction bit. I think it's very earnest, the way that she delivers certain things. I don't know if that's really the best way to describe it, but I believe it. I believe Ruby is a person that exists. I believe that Ruby's family are also like a family that exists. They're all great. It's a great dynamic, great performances. The episode, I also said in the reaction bit, I did really appreciate seeing a companion who is willing to show their vulnerability, show that like she was affected by the Doctor and she's not quite sure how to feel about it. And, you know, she's not certain who she is, and like she hasn't really found herself yet. And I appreciate it. It's an interesting part of this episode. So that's the first thing. I like Ruby in this episode. The other thing I like a lot about this episode was the social commentary on misinformation and the people who spread it intentionally. This, on one hand, like I do like it because I appreciate if you know anything about me, which most of you probably don't, but I do believe misinformation is like to me, at least in my life, it is one of the most frustrating things in my life. And I do think it is like one of the most dangerous kind of things in the world. Like obviously leading to things like, I don't even know, the vaccines not getting accepted and Donald Trump getting elected, and all these things are kind of spreading, in my opinion, because of misinformation, or they're happening because of misinformation. I do think it is like an increasing part of our world due to things like social media, like we obviously saw in Conrad here, broadcasting his stuff on live and having a podcast and everything. I think these are obviously very important elements of misinformation and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think the episode itself more so focused on the evil kind of person who is spreading intentionally these lies that kind of promote themselves and enrich themselves. And basically the condemnation by the Doctor at the end is basically what I'm saying, or basically the message of this episode, which is that, these people are bad. Maybe they will find some temporary fame, but in the end they are ruining the world that they wish to live in. I really did like the scene at the end of the episode where the Doctor is confronting Conrad and he is giving an unequivocal condemnation, which is kind of felt a little bit uncharacteristic of Doctor Who, where it kind of feels like most of the time the Doctor will be more open-minded, or more like, I understand what your perspective is, and I understand how you got to this point with your mother, but he kind of condemns him and just says that you are kind of like a rotten person who will die in jail and there is no saving you. And yeah, on one hand, it's an interesting scene. On the other hand, it is kind of interesting in the meta-narrative of the season itself, where in the first episode, you have the Doctor basically wanting to solve the mystery of Miss Belinda Chandra from the first episode, but Belinda, and who she is and why the Doctor's seen her twice and everything, whereas Belinda just wants to go home. And it introduces like a moral ambiguity in the Doctor, which is that he's kind of doing something against the companion's will. Like, you know, the DNA testing was like one of them, but the more kind of bigger transgression, he doesn't want to take her home when she wants to go home. He's kind of dragging her into all the stuff that he is dealing with because of his own personal curiosity. And it's like an interesting, like, oh, the doctor, you know, he is an amoral person. We need to remember that. At times, he's not really this morally upstanding person that we've come to love over the majority of his life. Sometimes he's not like that. And I feel like this episode kind of led a little bit in that direction too, where it's like the doctor is morally condemning this man who is by all rights, you know, causing a lot of harm to his friend personally and Ruby and also the world at large. But without, he's not really showing any empathy that he usually does. And I wonder if this is going to be like a thing over the season where it's like the doctor is progressively, maybe we are exploring basically the amorality of the doctor, or maybe the more morally ambiguous kind of decisions that the doctor makes. Number one is like taking Belinda away from her home, or not taking her away, but like not letting her go back to her home, at least initially, you know, before then he tried to go and the Earth didn't exist. And now in Conrad, maybe a total condemnation of his character, which is maybe deserving, but also lacks complete, like any sort of empathy that you would expect from the doctor. Anyway. But more like specific to this episode, I did like the design of the monster, whatever it was. It's not the Flinks, just the unit thing. I don't know what it was called. I completely forgot, if you can believe it already, in like 5 minutes. But I like the design. I like the concept of it slowly creeping up on you. I think it was well handled the first 2 times in that we, like when we first actually initially saw it, like in when Ruby's telling the story of what it is. I liked it when we saw it at unit, like in the little cage where, well, not the cage, I guess the room where Kate is like, oh, quick, where are you? Are you still there? And then it like pops up. That was really cool. I also thought it was cool when they were in the costumes, and I was like, man, they're like really hiding away and they're ominous. And I guess then we find out that they're not actually real. They're just people. But I thought it was cool, at least the way it looked. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of it when we actually saw it right at the end and its full like glory and everything. It felt a little slow, wasn't that scary. Maybe it was a little, I don't know if it was like CGI or practical effects. Actually, wasn't paying too much attention, but I would assume it was more CGI. I don't know. It didn't really sell me at the end of the horror of it, which was kind of sold really well early on. But that's one comment on that. What else is there to say about this? The Mrs. Flood thing at the end is interesting. Particularly more so about the music that's used. I don't know if I've heard that before. Now, maybe it has played and I just don't remember it, but to me it felt very like Christmassy or something. And I'm like, oh, is she like, I don't know, the god of Christmas or like something like that? But I don't think so. There's nothing else in her character that ties her to Christmas or anything like that. So I don't know. I don't know what it means. I'm curious. Why is she, you know, saving this person? She's trying to, obviously, last episode, she was trying to collect information on the doctor and what he's doing and if he's trying to save the world on the 24th of May. This episode, she's kind of releasing this guy that the doctor had totally condemned. Like, I wonder. I suppose the common thing is that, what have we seen her do? The first I don't remember what she was what her presence was in the robot episode. I think she was like Belinda's neighbor or something. In the second episode, this is the one with the 2D animation thing, whatever that was called. She's at the end kind of talking to the people that the doctor had saved and be like, oh, look, if you want to see like another effect or something, look over there, right? Then in the third one, in the well, last episode, she was talking to the person that the doctor failed to save, which was the person that the midnight entity had attached to, right? Potentially. So it's like, I guess I was trying to think like, let me just finish before I make a point. In the latest episode here, she's talking to someone that the doctor had given up on or like has said was a bad person. So I wonder if it's like, maybe, especially these past 2 episodes, is she going to be collecting people or like interviewing people or like somehow, you know, collecting them? People that the doctor had failed. Like one person would be, you know, the girl from last episode who the midnight entity had attached to because the doctor failed to realize that the midnight entity had escaped. And now the second person here is that this guy who the doctor influenced his life when he was growing up and kind of came back and didn't really, I guess there's no helping him, but like it to me, it just feels like a little bit too much of a condemnation of like an entire person who maybe wasn't necessarily always just born that way and was kind of the product of his environment maybe. But it's like, I don't like, I'm curious. Like, are we doing something there with all that? But I have no idea. I guess we'll see. What else is there? I guess the final kind of thing to talk about is this episode talks a little bit about or comments a little bit on the power of UNIT as an entity and whether they should have that power. And it is an interesting question, right? Because we obviously know, as like people who are watching the show, that UNIT is important and it has saved the world many times. And, you know, the doctor likes UNIT, so we should like UNIT too. And Kate's great. She's a nice person, whatever. She oversteps herself in this episode, obviously, but, you know, usually she's pretty great. But they are an overreaching organization that is kind of spying on everyone and controlling information and is far more powerful than any other government agency in the world. And it is kind of, they are truly, like the guy is right that, I mean, he didn't really say this, but the implication is like, he is interacting with the deep state, you know, like these evil people who are like high in the tower and are looking down on the people and are controlling them. And in the Doctor Who universe, these people exist. And it's like, it's interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, it's like the balance of like, it's like freedom and security are like the two ends, where it's like on one hand you have the complete free society where there is no unit overwatching you, but you're in like incredible danger because there is no unit to protect you. And then there's on the other hand the, you know, the society where unit is in control and they control everything and they are going to protect you, but at the cost of your freedom, and they will make sure that like they are understanding every aspect of your life at every living moment, and they will step in if they feel it's necessary. They will arrest you if they think it's necessary. Like it's like the two extremes there. And it's like, where should the reality lie? I don't know. In the Doctor Who universe, I don't know. We've done pretty well with unit. We should probably just keep it there, I guess, but we'll see. Yeah. But beyond that, I don't really have anything to say. Perfectly fine episode. I'm excited for next one. Not quite as interesting as The Well. I think The Well is like probably the best episode since 73 Yards. Oh no, actually no. The Legend of, no, was it I think it was The Legend of Ruby Sunday, the second last episode of last season. I really like that one. So I think it's the best episode since then. Yeah, this one was, it's pretty good. Probably the second best of this season so far. But yeah, so this was my first reaction. Please let me know if it was terrible. Give me comments on how to improve it if you think that's the case and it needs to be improved. And thank you for watching, and see you next time.